Hi there. Today I'm outside the Falcon, one of the most iconic music clubs in all America and definitely one of the best places in the Hudson Valley. I'm here today to interview Lee Falco, whose family has run the Falcon and turned it into one of the most iconic, amazing music clubs in all of America. Certainly one of the most important destinations on a music tour of the Hudson Valley.
Really great the other day. He said when he's listening to a singer, he just tries to listen to their breaths in between the notes when they're singing. And I like trying to do that sometimes, just trying to really tune in on the singer and the song and thinking about the lyrics and what the song means. Like music. I think music is so natural to us as humans, and it's this language that I feel so fortunate to be a part of, and just that's all around me and all around. It's a beautiful world to be living in and around music and have it be not only my career but just something that I love so much and get to do all the time. When my friends and I got called to be Donald Fagen's band in 2017, which was just this amazing opportunity, and we got to tour all around the US and do a whole lot of rehearsing with Donald. And we started playing with Amy Helm, and we were playing at the barn as as a house band for these events called Oh to Be Home Again. And Amy's stepfather is Donald Fagen, and he would often be at those shows, and he would come sit in and be a special guest at those shows. And so we played with him a few times at the barn, and it was when Walter Becker was sick, and he was looking for a new band to take out, because Steely Dan, he didn't want to take out Steely Dan without Walter. And so he got us to be his band, and he called it the Night Flyers, and we did a few-week tour around the U.S. It just felt like we really made it. Rolling Stone wrote about it, and we just, it was a big breakthrough moment. And a lot of gigs that I've had since then have sort of come through that. Yeah, well, I toured with the Lemonheads a whole lot in 2019. We went all around the world. We toured in the U.S. and Australia and Europe. So I knew most of the material. On this tour that they're doing, they're playing Shame About Ray in its entirety. And I flew to Minneapolis for the first show, which was at First Avenue, which is where Purple Rain was filmed in part, which was a legendary spot. And we played in Minneapolis, then we went to Chicago, Detroit, and then we did Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, Jersey, and 2 nights in Boston. We played at the White Eagle Hall in Jersey City. It's a great room. That might have been the most impressive room on the tour, like well thought out, great sounding. We're really lucky in this area, the Hudson Valley, to have a lot of great clubs. Levon Helm Studios and Colony and Woodstock and Quinn's and Beacon, and they're all salt of the earth, real family-owned clubs, and I like playing at all of them and like supporting them. The Pines is this great club in Mount Tremper, and it's kind of hidden away right off 28. Okay. A guy, Burnell Pines, owns it, who's a musician, and it's cool. I feel like it's kind of the place where all the musicians hang out in Woodstock, away from the Tinker Street. It's a unique place, the Falcon, coming out of the house concert series model. There was never tickets sold there. People just bring potluck food, and they would put money in the donation box, which would go 100% to the musicians. And that model is continued here at the new Falcon, which is housed in an old button factory in Marlboro, New York, right on 9W. And it's a large building and a big stage here that we're on, and it's right next to a waterfall. There's a nice deck outside, multiple decks. And there's a second club downstairs called the Falcon Underground, which is another club and another bar and another restaurant. And it's a place of art and community. We show different artwork on the walls and change that up every few months. And it's a space that welcomes everyone. So we still keep the donation box model here. So if you don't have much money, you can still come in and put whatever you can afford in the donation box. And if you got deep pockets and you can afford to tip the band well, you could put whatever you want. Whether it's $100 or $1, it goes directly to the musicians. And I love the democracy of that model and the community, that it doesn't really turn anyone away because of their financial status. So it's a unique place. I like to compare the Falcon to the Village Vanguard in New York City when it comes to our jazz programming, because we get really great jazz artists, and I appreciate the Falcon's reputation as a real listening room and a room where you can come see the best musicians in the world. But I always love when Ciro Baptista's here. He's this percussionist from Brazil. A few months back, we had this band from Mexico City called Son Rompe Para play here, which was really incredible. It was just, I feel like since I've been running the place now, it was like the best vibe that we had in here, and I was really proud to have put it on, and they were really great. It's always great when Brad Meldau comes and plays here. He's a family friend and has played here a bunch over the years, and I'm always moved by his playing and the people that he brings with him. And Bernard Purdie, too. Bernard Purdie's a great friend of the Falcon and plays here pretty often. The Beatles, Bob Dylan, Tom Waits, Ray Charles, and Arthur Russell. No, Arthur Russell's this guy from Iowa who lived in New York in the 90s. And he's kind of obscure, but also, you know, Pitchfork loves him, and he's really great. He died young, and they posthumously released a lot of his music, and I'm pretty obsessed with a lot of his stuff, so I listen to him all the time. Oh, and I should have mentioned NRBQ and my favorite bands. They're definitely high on the list. They would be one of my favorite bands.
So that's 6.
That's 6.
So are we bumping?
Maybe bump Arthur Russell for NRBQ. I don't know. My first car was a Toyota Camry that my sister gave to me that had a bullet hole in it.
And what year and what color? Do you remember?
It was black 2001. The purchase was great. I was there for just 3 semesters in the jazz program, and I had a really fun time there. I learned a lot. It was really jazz focused and really performance focused, drumming focused, and it was a great time. I was torn between working, and was getting touring opportunities, which was kind of pulling me away from school, and so I ultimately left after just a year and a half. But the time I was there was really great, and I made some great friends, and it was a really good life experience. The Beatles, definitely the Beatles. I was really obsessed with John Lennon. I remember jumping around my room singing Magical Mystery Tour, and I was always obsessed with the Beatles. Yeah, I started playing when I was 5. My parents got me lessons really young. And I was fortunate for that because it always was kind of second nature to me because I took lessons my whole childhood. And I was always singing and playing too. My dad had me play in this kids band when I was like 7 called The Chills. And so I was playing and singing and sort of just on my way performing in public as a little kid. Yeah, we're old friends. We started playing together when we were 14. And we've been great friends ever since. We played together all the time in all different projects, and I play in his band, and he's doing great. He was in Steely Dan for a little while. Now he's been touring with Amos Ali a bit. We're actually playing at the Pines on the 30th this month, and he's got a new record coming out that we recorded at my studio. So my dad built this space in our backyard when I was a kid, using recycled church materials. He owned this church in town, and he wanted to make that a performing arts center, but he got in over his head and he sold the property, took the church down and rebuilt it in our backyard, and he started doing shows there for about 10 years, from 2000 to 2009, and so then he bought this building that we're in right now, the Falcon, and opened this place up in 2012, 2000. Maybe it was 2009 he opened this place. I can't remember. But so the old music venue space went vacant, and after I left Purchase, I started recording in there and just slowly building it out as a recording studio. And it's a beautiful room. It's got great acoustics, and I've learned how to record, and I have some good friends that help me record and engineer. And it's sort of a community space. Different musicians leave their instruments and their equipment there. It's called The Building. And a lot of great music is a bit of everything. As a drummer, it's an interesting role because you're responsible for time and the perception of time. And so I think a lot about how I'm perceiving time, how the other people in the band are perceiving time, and how the audience is perceiving time, which is kind of a heavy role because you're responsible for then deciding where the tempo should be and if it should be changing or if it's correct. So I think a lot about time when I'm playing. Yeah, probably would have been to go see Bright Eyes, maybe at the Bearsville Theater. Maybe it was the Chance. I can't remember where we would have gone to, but a lot of my friends in high school, like as a freshman in high school, we all loved the band Bright Eyes. And we went to see them a bunch of times. So I like the first Noel. I wrote a Christmas song that with the band I'm in called Lost Leaders, and it's out under Peppermint. The name Peppermint Bark is the moniker we put it out under. We recorded some songs for the Hallmark Channel. They were like looking for this pitch for Christmas songs, so I wrote one and the other songwriter wrote one. And Hallmark didn't take it, and I was like, this is really good, we should just put it out anyway. Yeah, I play in a few different bands. My two friends and I have a band called The Restless Age, that's a trio, and it's a lot of vocals, a lot of harmonies. And we haven't been playing that much recently since coming out of the pandemic, but hopefully we'll be getting back to it soon. I play with this other band, Lost Leaders, which is a duo of Byron Isaacs and Peter Cole. Byron is in the Lumineers, and Peter is his songwriting partner, and they've been a band for quite a while, but I've been in the band now for almost, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, and it's a really great project, kind of alternative rock, and we play every now and again when Byron's not on the road, or and then I play with Connor Gitt a good amount of calls to kind of be a drummer for hire, so I'm constantly learning music, and there's a bunch of artists who I play with pretty often, so